how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Doing all right?
Yeah, I'm trying to still figure out my camera angle and be able to see the hook and the vise and everything on it. How are you?
I'm great. I'm good. I'm ready to roll here. Yeah, man, splat pop gulp.
Yeah. I mean, I got ahead of myself and I tied one.
Awesome.
No, I'm just kidding. It's the same one from yesterday.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. I was like, oh man, awesome. Good.
Okay, so what are we doing for the people tonight? Well, guess I should. Do you want to introduce yourself, Jay? Because you have some pretty dope stuff on your page, and what kind of ties do you generally fly?
Um, thanks.
I mean, what kind of
Thanks a
flies do you generally tie?
Gosh, I tie a little bit of everything because if I tie the same thing too many times in a row, I get burned out on it. So,
Hmm.
some of my favorite stuff is, these bass poppers. I really like working with deer hair. And I love tying like emergers for trout and that kind of stuff, and
Hmm.
streamers for pike and the streamers for trout and streamers for
Okay.
yeah, a little bit of all that. So
All right. All right.
yeah, and if feel free to check out my Insta and if,
Yeah, you have some pretty dope flies on there. One day when I'm like 90, I'll get to your level of expertise.
well, I'm flattered, but it's really a series of like tricks and kind of faking it. So it's like,
I'm good with the faking it part. See, I'm so good at faking it. I'm already done with the session and we haven't even started yet.
awesome, awesome.
All
So
right.
I think I'm gonna alter it a little bit from our practice sesh just to make things I think a little bit easier.
Okay.
The other thing I can think of is dropping the weed guard from a
Guard.
angle, and that's gonna make it tying it off a lot easier, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, because I even went back to try to tie the wheat guard after I got off the live with you,
Yeah.
and yeah, that was a little bit of a challenge, and I also think too because I didn't have the right size for the wheat guard either. I was like,
Oh,
what's the point? Because I only have an 8 pound test right now.
okay. Well, we can. I mean, you're certainly. I mean, if you don't want to put it on your fly, don't feel as though you have to. I mean, I can demo that really quick. So.
I'm gonna suck whichever way. So let's just get the ball rolling and
All right.
tie her up
Good.
and
So
see what
start
happens.
a couple of examples of the stuff that we're going to tie tonight. Um, if you don't have all the exact materials that we're using this evening, don't sweat it. Like one of the things that I like to say in fly tying is that like your imagination is pretty much the limitation. So you need and oftentimes we're tying flies kind of last minute for a trip tomorrow, which means you just need to use what you have on hand.
Yeah, and that's what I'm doing because right now I don't have all the materials that we had intended to tie with.
Oh
So
yeah,
I'm doing a lot of improvising as well. So
totally. So this is the hook I'm gonna use. It's the B10S Gamakatsu 1/0, which is a really big hook. But
hmm
I like to catch really big bass, so big hooks are good for that.
and I'm mediocre, so I'm over here with my size two.
Awesome. Big bass will eat that also. Um, okay, so and then I'm gonna use some 140 Denier. This is the vise in black. Um, really, any color would work. You can wing it.
Okay,
Are you ready to roll?
ready to roll.
All right.
Change my bobbin because yesterday that one wasn't working, and
Oh,
now this one feels too tight. But whatever, we'll go.
cool. Um, so I'm gonna start the thread like right over the hook point, and I'm gonna
Hook point.
work my way back, creating like an even thread base down
Yep.
the bend a bit. This just is going to be used to kind of anchor that weed guard into place.
hmm
If you go down the bend a little bit, like it kind of helps just keep everything aligned, and you don't lose. Like I'm not going to fill the gap, so I'm still going to have a lot of hooking power with this hook, with this.
Okay.
And then when I get down to about where I ended there, I'm going to wrap back it to the where I started.
Oh, come on now. I think I pushed mine a little bit too far into the vise. I'm gonna have to pull it out a little bit.
Okay, no problem.
It's tight. All right.
Okay.
So let's just you said into the bend a little bit, right?
Yeah, so, I'm saying I would bet like I'm just beyond where the barb would be, which are just above the barb here. So,
Okay. And then I'm going to roll back up.
yep.
Yep.
And I'm going to use a single strand of some 30-pound mono. And this does not need to be anything fancy. I typically just pick this up at my local sporting goods store and just whatever they have.
You got the heavy stuff. I'm over here with my bait fish catching line.
Yeah, I found that like 20-pound was kind of too light, really keep the weeds off, and then 40-pound was too heavy it reduces your hookups a lot. So
okay.
So I'm gonna do a single weed guard tonight, just because it's gonna be a lot easier for us to finish the fly with a single.
Single, okay.
Yeah. So just one strand of that 30. I'm gonna put that right on top of the hook, and I'm gonna put down 3 or 4 like decently tight wraps, and I'm gonna take some ultra gel control heads or glue, and I'm just gonna put a tiny drop right there on the top of that hook shank, and I'll let you get there.
Because I'm super fancy, I'm using hard as nails because I think someone stole my glue for homework or something.
Yeah, my someone to steal glue for homework isn't quite old enough to steal glue for homework. Feathers for me for other art projects. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Totally. So, and then once I get that glue on there, I'm just gonna wrap this even thread just down to where I ended that thread down the bend here, and I'm just trying to lay a nice even thread base. I'm wrapping right over that glue. I don't really want to go too much further than where I stopped the thread initially, and then once I get that, I'm going to wrap back up. And basically, from my experience throwing these kinds of flies in heavy cover for largemouth, they take a huge amount of abuse because of all that vegetation.
Yeah.
And, any time where we can reinforce these flies with a little dab of super glue or hard as nails or whatever you end up using, is always a good thing.
So, like I was telling you last week when I was in the backcountry, the amount of hooks and crap that I lost based on coverage, I was like, yeah. And flies, I was just like, yeah.
And then the weed guard really helps, like, kind of defer some of that damage also. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to throw in like a half hitch here, just to, lock it all down. Okay. So the next step is our tail. And I have these curvy strung rooster feathers. He's got a pretty good curve to him. You can use schlappen. You can use half hitch. What's a half hitch? Basically, it's the first turn of a whip finish. So I just throw that half hitch in just to kind of keep everything locked into place.
Bree, a half hitch is not a full hitch. That's what a half hitch is.
Thank you. It's 1/2 of a full hitch, actually. Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna pull off, I don't know, 4 to 6 feathers off of this. And I'm gonna kind of separate them. Make sure. I think there's like a little tiny feather in this clump I don't really want to keep.
And then in the matter of for people looking on, and just because, again, improvising and using what you have on hand, I didn't have all the right materials. Again, so I'm improvising, and I am, using what I have on hand to make magic happen.
That's what we all do, right? That's the beauty of it. Okay, so I'm going to stack all those to make sure that all the tips are aligned more or less. And you don't need to get like super crazy with this, but within, I don't know.
My feathers are just super fine apparently at the tip.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to find feathers that actually have some body to them.
Cool. Well, we're also going to do that wrap of marabou like we did on this one. So that's going to
Yeah.
flesh it out a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I want these feathers to like hold open the back end of the fly. So when that marabou gets wet and kind of gloms on to these feathers itself, they
Mm-hmm.
glom to, and then these are tied curving out. So it'll give that marabou more action.
Okay.
And once you get your feathers stacked, let me know. I'll move on to the next step.
Okay, yeah, I'm stacked.
Okay, awesome. So now I'm gonna just measure these out. I want like 2 lengths. So that's 1 length. That's 2 shank lengths. And then I'm gonna come in here, scissors, cut those off.
I know you told me where you were yesterday, Jay, but I can't remember. What part of the country are you in?
I'm in Western Massachusetts.
Okay, yeah, you did say that. I'm old, so I forget everything.
Um, that's fine. All right.
Yeah.
So I ended up with 5 feathers, which is fine. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna put 2 on one side and then 3 on the other. That's good.
Okay.
So see how they have this curve to them? I want to put these 2 on the side of the hook, so that curve is facing out. So you can see how I'm putting these on the side here. You see how that's like turning away from the fly? I'm going to wrap
Okay.
those down with like some pretty robust wraps here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're curving towards you.
Yeah, exactly. You really want to like, so I fish these poppers pretty slow, and
Mm-hmm.
anytime that you can get action out of the fly without actually having to move it, it's
Mm-hmm.
a really good thing in my opinion. So with these feathers splayed out, when you pop it and you pause, those feathers are still like kind of wagging out here like this. So
Okay.
that's movement without you actually having to move the fly afterwards.
Gotcha. I'm twisted around my bobbin, so one
Oh
second.
yeah, take your time.
It's a good thing we have all the time in the world to do this, right? Because Demiesha's over here novicing. Well, thank God it's a Noob fly session, so no one has any expectations of me to do anything magnificent tonight.
um, I have some expectations.
Shoot. Damn it.
All right.
Here I was thinking I'd come in mediocre and be like, oh my God, he's amazing. Okay.
All right. So I don't know if you're using a rotary vise or not, but I like to kind of angle my hook in the rotary vise when I'm doing the far side of these. So I just take this other stack of feathers and I line it up where I want it on the other side of the hook. Again,
Mm-hmm.
curves away from each other.
Yep.
And I'm going to lock that down into place. Okay.
When I bought my vise, I didn't even know what the rotary section of it was. I just like, oh my God, I want to tie fly, so I'm gonna go buy a vise. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna go buy probably one that I don't need to have, but it worked out well. And to be honest, I haven't been tying as much as I wanted to because I found there's so much more fun going out and catching the fish than tying the flies to catch a fish when the fish are out biting.
Yeah, totally. Um, but I get kind of like a little persnickety or snobby about like, um, about
About
my
the
bug. So I'm always like, oh, I want to tie this a little different. Or I want this a different shade, or I want this to act like a little differently. So,
Mhm.
all right. So we got our feathers on, and now it's
Yep.
move into some flash. And I think we both have some black crystal flash, right?
Yeah, we do.
All right. So I'm going to kind of separate out, I don't know, small clump. Not, you don't need to go overboard. Probably have like 15 strands in here.
Yep, this is 15. I said it's 15, so it's 15. It's probably like 20.
Well, I don't know. We got your comb and start counting them or whatever.
I was about to.
Yeah, don't.
Okay.
All right. So then what I do is I'm gonna rotate my vise and my fly in the vise here, And I want this flash to be about the same length of these feathers. So I'm going to lay that right against these feathers on the side of the hook. And I'm going to be very nimble here and try to keep these tag ends out of my way. You know, three decently tight wraps is fine. Okay.
I think this was, besides tying in the weed guard, this was my most fearful tie for the night, just getting this thing to sit in properly.
Oh, yeah.
And not be everywhere.
Well, you know, these popper heads that we're going to use just make this kind of stuff so much more accessible for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not a huge fan of the foam stuff, but man, it is really convenient and it is effective. So I use it and I'm happy with it, but purist, I guess.
Purist, yep. And then we're gonna go on the other. I'm not even close to the first P in pure, so I don't even know what the hell that is. Okay.
I'm not either, but I like to think I am. Right? All right, so then what I do is I kind of like bring these strands over the top of the hook and then line them up on this other side, or the far side. And since I've got the camera here, I can actually see where I'm putting these. So I'm just going to keep them. You guys can all see what I'm doing here. So then I'm just going to tie those in. So when you're tying materials like this and you really want to maintain that placement, you tie that first set of thread wraps is like medium tight, and that just kind of holds the placement, and then you go over again with another round and you really lock those down.
Okay.
And that first round of thread wraps will buffer the thread fork.
Okay.
Less likely to pull those materials over the hook on you.
Okay, cool.
So I got this clump of flash in my fingers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to trim them, but I'm not going to do it like all at once. I'm going to kind of do them uneven, so they're, you know, not necessarily all the same.
Okay.
Okay. So that's my tail so far. And then we both have rubber legs, or silicone legs, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got 3 right here. Oops, there I did. Hold on. There they are. So I've got 3 right here. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to tie those in the same way that I did the flash, one side and then the other.
Okay. So Jay, I'm going to ask you a question, and you're probably going to end the live after this question.
Maybe.
As a pro tire, do you ever go to Bass Pro to buy flies?
Bass Pro? If I have to.
This is not an advertisement. It's not paid. No ads over here. Just conversation.
Yeah, hey man, you know, if the place is gonna stock flies that I want to fish, then yeah, I'm gonna buy them.
Okay.
You know,
okay, cool.
It's whatever. I mean, I really want to support, you know, my local businesses and all that, but sometimes I'm not near my local business and I'm near Bass Pro or whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna tie these legs in. Are you ready for legs?
Yep, ready for legs.
Great. So I'm gonna put this like right along the side of the feathers, like just like I did the flash, maybe just a little bit shorter though.
Okay.
And then this really helps with a pinch wrap. Do you guys all know the pinch wrap?
I'm still learning. I've pinch wrap, but I don't know. I don't think my pinch wrap is to perfection.
Okay, so what I do is I got my thumb and my index finger, or my pointer finger, index pointer, I don't know. And that's just holding those threads. That's holding my material in place, and I've got a pretty good grip on this. I can move that hook with those 2 fingers. And what I do is I bring this bobbin up, and I tuck that thread in between those 2 fingers. So then, thanks, Adam. I do take custom orders. And so once this thread's in there, then I can pull that thread out of between my fingers, and that's like a precision move. Right?
Oh.
And then, because I can place that thread perfectly with that pinch wrap, right? It just gives you a lot more control over your thread handling, which is
Gotcha.
kind of the name of the game here. You know, I mean, at the vise, you have to have thread control. In the boat, you have to have line control.
Oh, cool.
All right, so then I'm going to do the same thing I did with that flash. I'm going to fold these over to the other side of the hook. I'm actually going to twist this a little bit just because the rubber doesn't act the same as the flash. And then
Yeah.
you don't really need to pinch wrap this side. You can just kind of wrap
Okay.
it. Okay, so this is getting a little unruly. You can see, kind of see how I'm starting to bulk up right in here.
Yeah.
I'll point that in my bodkin here.
Is there a way to flatten that out? Or not really?
Not really. We'll cover it with the marabou. Nobody will know it's there.
Okay. And it'll fish, right?
Well, the fish are gonna critique your fly with a record.
Oh, damn it. Guess I'm screwed.
No, me too. That's how it works. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these legs, I'm gonna hold them out here, and I'm gonna just nip them just close, just short of that long feather there. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
So that's my fly from the top. That's my fly from the bottom so far, and then you
I
guys.
think I'm pretty good there.
Okay, cool. I can't really see your fly very well. Your camera's a little.
I know the lighting is really weird. I got this really fancy light that doesn't work for anything but to make me look good on Instagram, and it's probably still not working. So.
Well, I'm kind of rumshackled over here. I've got like, light that my mom like.
You have a space. You have a space.
Yeah, I do have a space, and I kind of need that space, but. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our super glue or our hard as nails or whatever. We're just gonna put a little tiny drop here on top of these legs, and then we're gonna wrap over that, and that's just gonna make this super bomb proof. Okay.
Oh shh.
You all right?
Pops and sugar snaps. Yep.
Okay, here we go. All right.
If Erica was on here, I wouldn't be saying peas, pops, and sugar snaps. It would have been a whole bunch of other words.
Well, I am very impressed with your ability to keep.
Thank you. I heard you said you had a kid, and I just wanted to, just in case the words were floating out and she happened to wake up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's not going to happen.
Okay, I'll knock on wood.
For the night, but.
Yeah.
All right, so then this is once you're all glued down and you get like a thread wrap over the top of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna take my popper head out of the package. Last time I caught a fish on a popper, I think was, well, me personally or my clients, because I fish a lot less now than I used to. Last week would be the answer to that question.
Oh, it's Erica. She's the fly fishing, the confluence bug over there.
Oh, cool. Okay. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of like holding this on top of the shank here to make sure that I have enough room to do what I want to do and kind of give myself a sense of where I want to stop those wraps for the marabou.
Okay.
So I got a good idea. Take that off. Put that up right over here so I don't lose it. And then, do you want to do that marabou tail again tonight?
Sure.
Awesome. So, on this particular fly, whoop, dropped it. So like on this one here, this tail's all the same, more or less. And this like kind of collar stuff here is schlappen, which is a great feather you can use. If you don't have any schlappen, you can use the same stuff we use for the tail, just palmer that on. But
okay.
I really like the look of this marabou.
Okay.
So we're going to use that again. So what I'm looking for is a feather that has like some movement to it. I don't want a super stiff one because I want to be able to palmer this. So I pulled one out of the clump.
I think I got like the most mediocre type marabou that they had in the store.
Well, the thing with natural materials is that no two feathers are going to be the same.
And apparently not one feather in this packet is the same.
And so if you have the luxury of going to like a shop to like buy materials in person, if you're buying natural stuff, like if they have like 5 packs of marabou that are the color that you want, do yourself a favor and pull like all 5 packs off the rack and look at each package individually and then pick the one you want.
I usually go to my fly shop, but they started serving seniors like really early,
Uh-huh.
and I don't have my seniors card, my seniors discount ran out and stuff, so I didn't bother going back. So
Uh-huh. Okay.
yeah. So this will work?
That looks perfect. Yep.
And
So
how many do I need? Just one or?
just one. That's fine. I mean, if you can get fancy with this and like put like two different colors together. You can do multiples if you really want to. You can like I said anyway, like you can do pretty much anything you want here. I mean, this is your imagination is
Yeah.
so. So what I'm gonna do is hold this feather by the tip, and I'm gonna stroke these fibers down. And basically, once I have like a little gap there, kind of see how I have a little gap here. I'm gonna lay that on top. I'm gonna tie that in. Okay. And then I'm
Erica, this is what you do.
a little more, a little less,
A little less?
Yeah, take more material down. Yeah. There you go.
Okay.
Let's see what that looks like.
It wasn't meant to look that awkward, but
I think that's okay. Yep.
looks like Dr. Seuss.
Perfect. I have a buddy who's like, "Oh man, your flies just look like Muppets." Like, sweet.
Yeah, thanks.
Jim Henson's
That's exactly what I was looking for. Okay.
Nice and easy. Yep, exactly. So then once you get
That's
that kind of mounted on top of the shank, and I'll let you get there first.
Yeah. How are we for time? I don't even know what time it is because this thing runs out.
Yeah, it runs out in an hour, right?
Yeah.
We're approaching the 30-minute mark here shortly.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. We're looking good.
We're good. Okay.
Okay, so then what I do is I take this tip part and I fold this back.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm gonna wrap this down also, and this is just gonna help make that marabou a little more bulletproof because this stuff has a tendency to break at times.
Yeah, very easily.
Or pull out or whatever, especially when you're palmering it, and that's so annoying.
Pull out game strong.
So then what I do is just up, and then I just cut my feather out of there by accident. So let me go ahead and grab another one. You guys get to witness this all again. What do we got here? And again, I'm looking for that soft feather that's going to palmer well. There we go.
Okay.
Okay.
That light is bright.
Stroke that down. Find myself that tip. Lay that on top. Wrap back. Fold that tip over. Wrap forward. And then we're going to do half of a full hitch.
Half of a full hitch.
Yeah, just, why not?
I just completely forgot yesterday when we were tying. I was like, "What the hell how do you do a whip finish again?" I'm gonna have to ask somebody to teach me.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm the one to teach you.
Oh, this is where I learned on this thing here, and I've done it like I think I did it the first time I tried it, but because I haven't been tying as much as I should or whatever, it just yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things I can do, but it's really hard for me to teach somebody else how to do. Okay, so now this is all locked into place, and I'm gonna start palmering this forward. So each wrap, I want to like stroke these fibers back because I don't want to trap any, right? And you're gonna trap some, so you want to ease this stuff away from the hook shank, away from the stem, away from its friends. We just want to like keep these materials untrapped because that's going to let them breathe better in the water. Okay. So then I'm here and I want to tie this off, and I have like all of this marabou in my way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch hands and I'm going to give that a blow there so it all like kind of like moves backwards. And then this part is like what I think kind of like the key to making good marabou palmers is taking your thread and just placing it over the exact point where you want to tie that in 3 times.
These marabou feathers are so freaking long.
Nice and easy, exactly. So every time it gets in your way, a little puff of air. Okay.
Okay, back up, back up, back up.
And then just keep in mind that we don't want to spill too far forward because we don't want to block our the shank that we need for the head.
Okay.
So,
All right, and then you said just to tie her in?
yep. So just pick up that thread and lay it over just 3 times, right, like this. Okay, I'm gonna do it again just to show our audience.
One.
Okay. So then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch hands, and I'm gonna hold that feather up tight, and I'm gonna draw down. Now you could draw down so tight that you break the thread, but you don't want to do that, right?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I
So
did that yesterday for effect.
yeah, that's always just a joy. But I'll probably break it tonight because we're live. So
Yeah, no, we're not gonna break.
if you can
No
see
breaking.
this, I don't know if you can or not, but I'm making like just a little cone here to kind of trap that stem backwards. So
Oh,
then
so you're
go right
okay.
hands off the vise, and this is the stem that I want to cut out of there.
Okay.
So having that like tied down over the top and then tied with the thread
Back.
pushing against it this way really locks that into place. And then it
Okay.
gives you like an extra second of breathing room to like be like, oh, do I like this? Do I not like this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it'd be really easy to take this off right now if you wanted to do something crazy like that, or just moving forward is always good with fly tying. So,
Okay.
so then what I'm gonna do is take my scissors. I'm sorry, Demiesha, I don't want to get too far ahead of you, and I've been running,
Okay.
so
I'm just snipping. I'm gonna snip my spine.
your stem there. Okay, cool. I'm gonna do mine too.
Yeah.
So I take the tip of my scissors, make a little tiny V. You can see that against the white of my shirt. I'm gonna put that right there and just use the tip of these to cut that out of there. Because you don't want to go in there sort of just hacking away because you start cutting things you don't want to cut. There we go. Now we're free. So that's what I'm taking off of that hook, and everything else is on there. So again, now what I want to do, give it a little breath there, kind of get that to sweep back. I want to take my popper head, make sure I got enough room for that still. Looks good.
Let's see. Tie her one in again because I don't think I locked that in good.
Okay.
Okay, popper head.
If you're using any of these fly head products like the sculpin helmets, these popper heads, or like the fish skulls or any of that stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
the more you check this, like you do this 3-5 times per tie, like the better your result's going to be.
Okay. So
So,
practice.
so I feel like this is pretty good for me. So I'm going to go ahead and continue.
So mine's right here, Jay. Is that good enough room or
Can you see the eye of the hook in front of it?
if I can see, yeah.
Yep, then you're good. All right, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this marabou back, and I'm just going to lay a nice even thread base. And I'm going to stop this about an eye of the hook width back from the eye of the hook. If that could be said any more confusing, I would.
Wow, I got that was, I mean, yeah, that was perfectly clear.
Thanks.
But I got it. I think I got it.
Awesome. Okay. So the next steps, let's see how we want to do this. I think we want to whip finish this guy.
Gonna whip finish. Okay, so we're gonna whip finish again, Jay. Oh, what the heck?
Okay, I'm gonna go through that. So what I do, let's see if I can't do this way. So, wait, I don't know if I can do it that way. My head won't work that way around. So what I do is I have my thread pulled towards me, peace sign, make myself a triangle here, and I'm gonna butt that up against the shank of the hook, and I'm gonna wrap that around itself 3 times. Okay. Now you got to be careful with these because you don't want to, what's the word I'm looking for? You don't want to bulk up a big knot here because then it's going to be hard to get that popper head over that thread base.
Yeah.
So then, how I do a lot of cutting is only with the tips of my scissors, and I also do a lot of pushing. So I'll make a little V with my scissors. I'll lay that right on the side of the shank, and I'll just push through my thread.
Okay. And so we cut the thread, right? We just cut the thread. That's what we did?
Yep, that's what you do.
Okay.
So, and I can't remember, I think your popper heads were like pre-drilled or they have like a slot in them or not.
Yeah, they're pre-drilled.
Great. So mine are not. So I'll just do that real quick. So basically, I've got like a pre-hole in the back here, and I just get my bobbin to go in there. Make myself a spot for the, yeah, there you go. All right, and then the next piece is I take like pretty big needle, sewing needle.
Yeah.
What I'm looking for is something with a big eye on it so I can thread my eyes through it. So on this one, you know, these double barrel popper heads, they have like recesses for eyes. And basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my needle, I don't know how I do this so you can see it, right behind that eye. I'm gonna go a little high just because I want to make sure I miss the hook shank.
So I don't have eyes, so I'm just making imaginary. I'm just imagining that I have an eye section.
Perfect.
The whip finish was invented in Finland. Thanks, Erica.
Awesome. All right, then once I got my needle started, I'm just going to put that on my table. I'm going to force it the rest of the way through. Okay.
If it don't fit,
make it.
Make it.
Okay. So, and I'm going to push that needle all the way until I'm like kind of at the eye of that needle.
Okay.
And then what we're going to do, I've got these purple and orange legs that I just think look really nice. So I'm going to use.
Oh, you're fancy.
And basically I'm going to break off 3. Okay.
Jay, you could have told me you were going with all the fancy stuff here.
Well, I could go with the other ones. I have those too. These were on the.
And now you have me over here looking all extra mediocre.
Nah, not even. I just thought it. Okay.
No, I'm so with you. I'm good.
So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these. Let's see here.
You're going to thread the legs through the hole.
You know it.
Haha.
Okay, so let me just go ahead and. So I've got this like tag here. Cut that off.
I actually found the tag helped me push the legs through the eye a little bit easier. Cool. So I just kept them there till I'm done.
Cool. So I'm going to just, and then once you get, like I just do like a little bit. Let's see here, right? And then what I'm just going to put that on the table and I'm just going to force that head down. Can you see that? So it's like that now.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna just draw. Oh, you know, these legs weren't that great to use.
Got the mediocre leg action.
I got mediocre legs, and I'll explain it. I'll explain to you why in a second. So. Okay. So once you get those through, then you kind of pull them to make them even. So what I have here is I have a popper head with 3 legs on either side. But if I had used like the same color legs, like if they were all like uniform color like what you have, pull them in, you can pull them through so that they're like, so you can make it double it. You can do like 6 on each side because you pull it through so it's half on half.
Yeah.
I have another head if you guys want to see that instead. Let's see here. Well, maybe we don't have time, but.
I have mine. I have like.
Maybe you can do it the right way so somebody can see.
So mine has like the doubles version.
Yeah, so that's what you want. You want that doubled action.
There you go.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to kind of put this on the hook, force this into place. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Because I want to make sure that this is going to go on there before I put glue on it.
I just impaled myself, but life goes on.
Do you need a Band-Aid?
Yeah, totally.
I don't know how to give you a Band-Aid, you know, but
yeah, I just bandaged it.
Perfect. Yeah, so that's one of the things about this particular thing is you got to not skewer yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so that fits good. So I'm gonna pull that off.
Okay.
What I'm do is I'm gonna put a little super glue on here, and I'm gonna try to keep like at the front half of that shank.
That was just first aid noob style.
Yeah, yeah. Use a little super glue on your finger, a little on the fly.
Yeah,
And then
it
so I'm
works.
kind of work this little side to side and back to forth to make sure I get that glue to really distribute and get good contact. So then once I get there, I'm kind of butted up against my marabou.
Ooh.
Okay.
Actually, I like the way this looks, just because it looks good. I probably won't even catch anything with it, but it just looks good.
Wait, no way. That's BS. You're definitely gonna catch fish with that. Yellow and orange, it's super good color combination. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna pull this back a little bit, and I'm just gonna put a little dot right here at the front, and I'm gonna let that head kind of work that in there again. Okay.
There's a troll in the comment asking what's so good about the glue. What's so super about the glue?
It's 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 ultra gel control, so that makes it pretty super. Anyway. I think Old Man Super invented that glue. That's where it came from.
I think it came from Finland with the whip finish.
Oh yeah, it would. No, I think that would have been like should be like more umlaut in there somewhere if that came from Finland, right? All right, so what I'm gonna do is reattach my thread. So 7 wraps, and then I'm gonna pull the tag end and the bobbin in opposite directions. Really lock that into place.
Hold on. So this was my test yesterday. 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. Now we're getting to the crux of this fly.
6. Just gonna pull that there, and so I can lock it in a little bit, and then okay.
Okay. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna throw a half hitch in, and I don't know if you ever use your bodkin. This has got like a hole in the end of it. Throw your half hitch in. This is nice to like just kind of get it underneath that cup of the head here. And then once I have like a single half hitch on there, I'm gonna angle my vise so I can see it, and I'm gonna go ahead with my scissor tips and just kind of slice through that tag end of the thread.
Okay, I'm just gonna, because mine isn't as fancy. My bodkin doesn't have a thing in it, but I gotta.
It looks like you've got a needle that works well.
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay.
So I'm using the bodkin here, and my bodkin has like a hole at the tip here. So I've got the needle half, and then I have this like half hitch tool on the end.
Oh, cool.
And then, this is a whip finisher. Has the same thing.
Oh, that's what I'm so stupid. I have.
Nice catch.
There's this thing here called a whip finisher that I've been using for the past 6 months.
Uh-huh.
Totally forgot I had one.
Well, now you've got one, so now you remember.
Wow. Okay. All right.
So now we're going to attach this weed guard. So since this is single, I'm just going to thread this down through the gap in my vise jaws.
So this was the pain in my arse yesterday.
Yeah, this is what makes this fly difficult, but this also is what makes this fly
work
fishable, right? And
yeah.
heavy cover. And just because this is called a weed guard, it doesn't mean it's going to block all the weeds, okay? Okay. So once I've got this ready to go, I'm just going to hold it on the side of this. So let's choke up way high on this bobbin so you have like almost no thread exposed.
Okay.
And this is going to give you a little more control. So I'm going to use the same technique that I used for the marabou. I'm just going to take this bobbin and I'm just going to lay it over that thread 3 times. No tension, tightening, just kind of lay it, and then I can like let go, okay? And now I can take a look at it. All right, looks good. There's some this model. Yeah, what is that? 30 pound on it?
That's what I did yesterday, and I'm doing it again.
What happened?
So You said 3 times over the mono, right?
Yeah, so I just kind of hold that mono on the side of the hook shank behind the eye, right behind the eye, and then I just lay that thread over 3 times.
Okay, we're gonna improvise on this one because
The weed guard's kind of a pain, and if you're using super thin mono, it's gonna like want to torque on itself.
and that's what's this one's twerking hard over here. This one's like a twerk queen.
Torque queen.
Twerking. 1 second. Okay, we're gonna have to let's get this right and get it tight and get it done.
No worries.
I think the problem is because I don't have my hook is not as big as yours.
Yeah, you
I
already
have,
have a smaller hook, so it's
I have a 2, so it's a little bit harder.
for sure.
Yeah.
Pop it.
Ladies and gentlemen, follow the instructions and get the right sized hook.
Well, you know, there's some things that are easier to improvise than others.
Makes your life a lot easier.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah. So Jay, we're gonna pretend right now because yeah. Oh, I got it. Okay.
I use 30-pound for the weed guards.
Okay, I got it.
Awesome.
We got it.
Okay, so
we got action. Well, we got action.
fall into place, or you can if you have to keep it locked in, go for it. But what I'm gonna do, so I just have this just like lightly into place here.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this mono to the underside of the hook because I really want this to be in line with that tip, that point of the hook.
So the mono should be in line with the hook.
With the point, yeah. Because what you want to do is as you're popping this through, you're welcome. As you're popping this through, you know, you're tickling this through your weeds or whatever. You really want to try to deflect things away from the point. So I really try to line it up. So on that double weed guard, it's kind of the opposite, where like we have those weed guards are coming off either side, and they're running more of like a defensive strategy around the tip of the point. I mean, I think about this stuff for way too much. So once I'm happy with the way that looks, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch that into place. I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm starting to block my light. I'm going to pinch that into place tight, and then I'm going to just draw that thread down to kink that 30-pound mono. Okay.
So guys, not an 8-pound, 30.
Yeah. Yep. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this tag end down, and it, yeah, I use this for smallmouth too. If I'm like, so I have a lot of smallmouth water around me that's not very weedy, and if I'm tying for just that, then I don't put a weed guard on them. All right, so then what I'll do is I'll take this mono and I'll pull it back like this, and I'll get 3 wraps in front of it. I'll get 3 wraps over it again. I'm going to pull all this down. I'm going to take a look here. Looks good, man. I'm pretty excited about this. I think it looks good.
I think we're onto something here.
Yeah. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little wire cutters. Scissors work too, if you have a pair of bum scissors. And I'm just going to cut that tag out of there. So you're welcome. So what you want to do, you know, is when you cut that weed guard, when you tie that in at the first thing, you want to make sure you have at least 8 inches or so there, because that'll give you enough length to work with.
Yeah, I think I have a good amount under here.
Yeah, you're fine. There's more of a general.
Yeah.
Hey. All right, so then I'm going to whip finish this puppy.
Guess what I'm going to do?
You're going to whip
I'm using a whip finisher.
Awesome. So I lay my tool on top of the thread. I hook the hook around the top part of it, create a triangle, put the apex of that triangle behind the hook eye. Once, twice.
3 times a lady.
3 times a lady. There we go.
Ooh.
Okay.
Come on, Demiesha, you got this. You've been here, done this before. Come on.
I'll do that. Just 3 more. I just like to make sure that I've got enough knot on there to make sure this weed guard isn't going to pull out on me.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have liftoff. Because your girl just whip finished
Hell
with
yeah.
a fancy whip finish tool.
Nice work. All right, so then tighten that down.
Just gonna put a couple more on there just because I think I did really mediocre before.
Good. It's always, reinforcement on these flies is never a bad thing. All right, so
Yeah.
now I'm going to go ahead with my tip of my scissors. I'm just going to push through that thread. I don't want to cut anything by accident. And Demiesha, you just let me know when you're done, and we will throw the superest of glues on there.
You mean no Sally Hansen tonight?
You can use Sally Hansen. Any of that stuff works. I just like my gel control,
Sorry, I'm like you said, we should have added mediocre in front of that noob statement.
Well, I like the noob idea because it's just like, it's like it's going to be
I love it because honestly, I would have never tied flies if it wasn't for the noob experience because I wanted to learn to tie flies, but I found it so intimidating.
Oh my
Just
God.
seeing all the materials, seeing all the things that you need, and then
Well, it's like, you don't even know what you need until you start, right? So
that's why I told you yesterday I have like a box full, like literally. I'm gonna show you guys just because I'm for transparency.
yeah,
Literally, I have a box full of shite that I have no clue what I bought it for.
yeah, that happened. I mean, I walk into a fly shop and I'll be like looking at materials or whatever, and it's like a certain package of feathers will like just speak to me, and I still have them. That was like 15 years ago.
Yeah,
I don't know what I'm gonna do with them, but
I have Caribbean
all the
blue
time.
feathers. I have Caribbean blue feathers, so
Buy some blue poppers because that color is really good for the bass too. So I'm gonna take my super gel control. I'm gonna flip my fly upside down in my rotary vise. And you
okay.
can see how this popper head's kind of angled. This is
Yeah.
what scoops water and throws it forward. So if I flip it upside down, I can get underneath that angle easier.
Okay.
And then I'll just put a little dot. And then what I'll do is get in there with my bodkin. And then I'll just kind of bring that around the whole kebab here. Right. And that will cure up, and that's going to be awesome. The thing with these flies is the first thing that goes on them usually is the weed guard.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Okay.
And then what I want to do is I want to kind of gather these legs here. I'm going to cut them just about the same length as the weed guard.
Mhm.
And then let's do some eyes. Do we do eyes?
Hell yeah.
Okay,
But
so,
I have cheater eyes, so I'm gonna put some cheater eyes on there.
and I actually am all out of the eyes we used the other night, so I'm going to use googly eyes.
Yeah. So funny because the first time I tied them, I didn't know you needed like special eyes for flies. So I went to the dollar store and I picked up a packet of googly eyes.
Nice. So these
Like,
are
okay.
these are the 4 mil ones. These are pretty small. I think it was less than $5 for probably, I don't know, it's got to be over 100 in here.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it easier to work with these if you have a pair of tweezers. And on these popper heads, it's kind of nice because they got these I think I just had somebody tell me they caught a smallie on a flash dancer yesterday. Is that the one that you tied up?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm stoked. That's awesome. All right, so what I do is I take a little bit of my superest of glues and I just put a small dot here in the eye socket. There we go. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but there you can see that little reflection of a dot of a glue in there. Okay, nice, man. I'm stoked to hear that. I love that fly. All right, so then what I do is I just drop that in the eye socket here. Okay, and I'll move that into place. And then I'll take the tip of my tweezers and I'll just kind of pat that into place. Okay, you can see I got the eye there. And it kind of takes like I like to tie these flies with a lot of movement when they're not moving. And the googly eye is another piece of that. That eye is going to move a little bit after you twitch this thing and it's sitting there.
Oh.
And you know, it's pretty absurd and crazy that I'm thinking that the
I had no fancy googly eyes. I can't find them again, so I just improvised and just used a stick-on eyes with a little bit of super glue or whatever glue that I had.
totally. And the thing about this too is that these eyes are for us in the bass world. Okay.
Because I also didn't realize, and that's a part of the learning of this that I'm doing, is realizing that there are specific heads for these eyes that I purchased.
Uh-huh.
And yeah,
Like flies or something?
pardon me?
Are those for like crease flies or something?
I have no clue what the hell those are. I have these eyes. Like those, sorry.
Are those dumbbell eyes? I can't quite read the glare on the package.
They are, it just says fly eyes, Sonica fly eyes. They kind of look like little drums.
Little drums, like hourglasses?
There you go.
Yeah, yeah. So that's for weighting streamers and stuff.
Okay, cool. All right.
So that's the foam-headed popper, guys. And a few minutes to spare. So I don't know if you guys want to do any questions or not, but
Tell me one interesting fact about yourself. Because I don't know you, you don't know me.
Interesting fact about myself. I have done a lot of veg surveys across North America.
Med surveys?
Vegetation survey.
Oh, dope. Nice. Nice, nice, nice.
Yeah.
My one interesting fact about myself is that if I'm not fly tying or doing things that I shouldn't be doing, I'll go bungee jump.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's fun.
A little
Just
more
do it.
adrenaline I can handle, I think.
Just do it. Just
All right.
you just get up there, scare yourself to death, and then just jump because you can't walk back down because you'd be so ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, I don't know,
Lean
man.
it. It's a size 1 hook.
The size hook that I'm using is a size 1/0. Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me on tonight. This has been a lot of fun for me. Hope to do another one with you.
Yeah, I'm down. So something maybe do you tie streamers as well?
Yeah, I do a lot of streamers tying. Everything from you know, simple like woolly bugger kind of stuff to like articulated fancy stuff. So
I want to try to tie for salmon because we do have a lot. Like there's a river here that there's a wicked salmon run on it.
okay, yeah, cool. We can do a streamer.
Oh, cool.
Sounds
Then we'll
fun.
do fall. We'll do streamers for fall then. Sweet.
Yeah, awesome.
I'll just need a materialist way in advance so I can hit up the fly shop and have them get me all the stuff that I need in advance.
Awesome. Great. Well, let's do that then.
Okay. Sweet.
All right, guys.
All right, thanks, Jay. That was awesome. Thank you so much.
You got it.
And I'll send you a picture with the.
Also, sorry.
I'll send you a picture with. I said I'll send you a picture with the bass with it in its mouth.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
See you
thanks,
guys.
Confluence, and thanks, Bree.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.